All right, Chuggalos, it's day 10 of the Brew Crew Podcast Advent Calendar 2025. Day 10, we made it to 10. Today's going to be an interesting adventure. I feel a little bit hoodwinked. My friends, Gus and Better Matt, I feel a little bit hoodwinked here. We had on our little Chuggalo sheet that this was a honey Saison. And it's by Anchorage Brewery, which I love. Anchorage Brewery is a great brewery. Never had a bad beer from Anchorage Brewery, and enjoyed a lot of their different styles over the past several years. And I was excited to try the honey Saison. And I'm going to kind of keep my feelings in reserve until I taste this, but it says honey Saison on that sheet right there. This does not say honey Saison. This says Brett Saison with honey. Like the honey is supposed to make it better because it's a Brett. And, you know, it's interesting that you just kind of neglected to say that it's a Brett Saison on here instead of with honey, instead chose to say it's a honey Saison. Anyway, I'll take my beef up with you guys later. Actually, maybe this Saturday. I hope you guys both show up. Making this a Brett Saison instead of a honey Saison is a horse of a totally different color. And I'll explain more about that in the future. I have, just before I even pop it open, I will say I've never been a fan of Brett. In fact, I don't like Brett. I don't like funkiness in anything that I drink, beer, wine, Brett in particular. I mean, coming from the wine side of things, Brett is a contaminant. Brett yeast is wild yeast. It's a contaminant. It funkifies the wine and severely is considered a severe wine fault. If you take a wine that has Brett in it to a wine contest, you will not win a thing. You'll get dead last place. You won't get any honors whatsoever. Brett is very unwanted and uncharacteristic and steals the show and destroys a beautiful, nice, balanced wine that has depth and character in it. And in my opinion, in my experience, does the same thing with beer. So we're going to see if this is different. Because it's Anchorage, I'm going to give it a chance because I like Anchorage. And who knows, maybe the honey sweetens up the funk a little bit from the Brett, but I'm not a huge fan of Brett. I'm just going to say it right now. So anyway, and that would be a shame if I don't like it because that'd be 2 nights in a row. And I kind of take a little responsibility for the sequencing of this calendar, and I didn't really realize this was a Brett Saison. So maybe I should have looked at all the bottles. I don't know. Anyway, now it's better that I didn't. Because I want to be surprised just as much as the next person does. That's always that's part of the fun of it, right? So, all right, here we go. I popped it open. We're going to give it a little pour. Well, it's carbonated all right, like a farmhouse. Oh, I'm smelling a little funk. Yeah, it's got a little, it's got a sour smell, which is very typical of Brett. And who likes to drink sour wine, right? Anyway, it's, I don't know, a little metallic too. It's got a little flinty metallic character on the nose, but it's definitely got a sourness to it. A little earthiness maybe. I don't know, I want to burn some of that carbonation off, so I'm going to give it a couple of swirls here. There's a lot of carbonation stacked up along the sides of that, which is very typical of a Saison farmhouse ale, you know, typically. All I'm doing is shaking it up and making more carbonation. I got to get rid of some of that. Anyway. Yeah, it's got, I smell some good things in there. I smell some yumminess. You typically would, with honey, especially brewed and fermented with honey, you expect to get a lot of fruit characters. A lot of fruity esters should be coming out of this, like a mead. When you have a mead, there's a lot of fruit that should be coming through. I'm not smelling a lot of fruit. I'm smelling kind of lightness, a little citrus maybe. Yeah, I'm getting a little citrus, like some lemon peel maybe. Yeah, lemon for sure. It's got a tanginess to it. It's like a, I'm not sure what that is. Tangerine maybe. Lemon tangerine. Could be lime. I got a little lime hint right there too. The lemon and lime. That's kind of nice. Wow. Maybe it's going to be better over the palate than I'm expecting. It's not bad. It's not a huge funkiness that I'm getting, so I was expecting a lot worse, man. When I saw Brett, I was like, oh, God, Brett, no, no. Poor guys. Any guys that are named Brett, I feel sorry for him, man. He got named after a really bad yeast. Somebody had a bad yeast infection. Did I say that out loud? It's light for sure. Very pale. Which you'd expect, you know, out of a Saison. You're not looking for some dark, deep golden amber kind of a deal. It's pale. It's pale malt. The yeasts are going to be light. All right, here we go, man. I've been stalling long enough. It's a little cold. I just kind of got out of the fridge and letting it warm up just a little bit. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right. Ugh. What is that taste? You know, the first flavors that kind of flare into my mouth is the lemon lime part of it, which I dig. I haven't tasted like a lemon lime kind of, but then right after that comes the funk. It is it's like a kind of gum. Can't put my finger on what kind it is though. It's like not a grape gum. It's like a bubble gum of some sort. And then that disappears quickly into the finish, and the finish is long, and it's very metallic. I've got a real kind of a metallic with some earthiness in it. Well, I can't say I'm getting a lot out of the honey. No, it's sour, but I'm attributing that more to the Brett than to anything. It's yeah, it's like an early sour kind of flavor without any of the sour goodness. Because I'm not getting a lot of fruit in here. I don't know if any of y'all are, but if you are, please post and let me know how wrong I am. I'd love to hear that. No, I mean, I'm tasting some sweetness back there, but it's so fleeting. It gets cut off right away by the sourness and the metallic kind of sour finish from the Brett. All right, I'm going to say I'm not a huge fan. This is really not my style. I was really surprised, very pleasantly surprised, and I really loved the red Saison that we had earlier in the pod. Let's see, that was the red Saison. Wasn't it like day 5? Let's see here. Oh yeah, day 5 perennial when the morning comes. The red wheat Saison. I'm not a huge wheat fan, and I love that beer. That beer was good. That beer was well balanced and just beautiful. I really enjoyed that beer a lot. And this Saison doesn't even compare to that one. Mm. No, it's not doing much for me. Yeah. What the last thing that a beer leaves in your mouth, um, taste wise, smell wise, because you get it up, back in the back of your palate, and it goes up into your nasal cavity, and you get a second smell at it, right? And you get to smell that, but what you're smelling is basically what you're getting in the finish. What makes it through to the finish. You're not smelling what's on the tip of your tongue or on the sides of your tongue from a, sweet or salty or sour or whatever flavor. You're getting what comes off the back. So whatever's the lingering kind of a finish flavor is what you're going to get up in the nose at the end. There's a lot of carbonation in this. I'm already burping. I taste like chiclets. That's what it is. It's like chiclets gum, the little chiclets you used to get when you were a kid. And you chew it a little bit, and then after the flavor goes away right away, then you are left with gum flavor, kind of basic gum flavor. That's kind of what I'm tasting here. And I get a little sweat socks too. Yeah, isn't that nice? Isn't that lovely? You want to, because you want to smell and taste sweat socks when you're drinking a beer. What? All right, Anchorage.